from having incestuous relations with his sisters,
What are you doing, step bro?
to declaring war on the sea god Neptune. This Roman emperor had its fair share of weird practices. Let's dive deep into learning about the bizarre practices done by the infamous Roman emperor Caligula, born in 12 BCE. His father was a popular Roman general and a war hero Germanicus, and his mother was Agrippina the Elder. Caligula reigned from 37 AD. Caligula's reign wasn't off to a bad start. He was said to have rained coins down to the Roman people and brought back public games. For many Romans, their new emperor met their expectations. To put it another way, he was a welcome change. So far, so good. But then something happened that completely changed his demeanor, made him the complete opposite of what he was. But the origins of his cruelty might shock you. The reason behind his cruelty was his illness. He once fell very ill. No one knows what caused the illness, whether it's brain inflammation, epilepsy, syphilis, poison, or some other problem. No one really knows. But what we do know is that many Romans were afraid that Caligula might not make it, so they started to groom another successor. But miraculously, Caligula survived, and after that, his reign of cruelty began. As his quote goes, "Remember that I have the right to do anything to anybody." After his illness, Caligula felt betrayed, so he started his spree of executions, executing enemies and allies alike, till it got to a point that he executed Macro, the head of the Praetorian Guard, his personal protection squad. When you start to kill your own bodyguard, you know things are bad. He also humiliated his senators by making them run in front of his chariot just for his amusement. Caligula also fueled his bloodlust with gladiator and chariot combat. Frequently, he raised the stakes by including exotic animals and criminals. In addition, at a ritual sacrifice, Caligula killed a priest rather than an animal. Now, let's talk about his incest problem. Caligula's perverted tendencies made him even attracted to his own sisters. It got bad to the point that he even made love to them during parties when other guests and his wives were still around. He did not stop there. He also had many affairs with his friends' wives.
Streets did she emerge, into the street she will return.
Caligula's bloodthirsty attitude is combined with award-winning narcissism. Caligula believed he was a god, so it was only natural that he lived like one. He did what he wanted. Caligula ordered the building of his statue in Jerusalem's temple. He purportedly rolled in piles of money and drank vinegar-dissolved pearls. Living a lavish lifestyle, he swiftly spent the whole royal treasure. The poor Romans had to pay for everything through greater taxes and extortion. Caligula was also obsessed with his looks, but he wasn't that good-looking. As a result, he preferred that any photos show him appearing better than he was. He prevented anyone from looking at his bald head or mentioning a goat in his presence. He supposedly resembled one. To make matters worse, he was so self-centered that he intended to promote his favorite horse, Incitatus, to a high office. The horse would live in a marble stable with 18 servants to take care of him and would often dine with dignitaries. Let's not forget about the time when he ordered his soldiers to wage war on the sea, but let's find out the reason why he did it. Britain occupied a special place in the Roman imagination. According to them, it was a mysterious, terrible island populated by druids, warrior queens, and vicious savages. The Romans, like any other human culture, were terrified of the unknown and were wary of embarking on a possibly disastrous mission with a young prince who had little to no experience. Roman legionaries had already revolted against Caligula's experienced father, Germanicus, on the Rhine River. It's not difficult to see them doing it again with his inexperienced son. This could explain why Caligula waged war on the sea as an outburst of irony. I'm not sure about you, but I'd be fed up with Caligula's reign. Certainly, the Romans were done with it too. As a result, a conspiracy between the Praetorian Guard and the Senate emerged. Caligula and his family were eventually assassinated in 41 AD. In fact, the despised emperor was stabbed approximately 30 times. Caligula finally realized that he was not a god.